right, good morning, everyone. The House Committee on Higher Education will come to order. Clerk will please take attendance.
Chair Glanville.
Present.
Representative Reingans.
Present.
Colzar.
Here.
Scott. Burns.
Here.
Caulfield. Hill. Here. McDowell.
Present.
Pies. Present. Vanderwall.
Present.
Paquette.
Here.
Zorn. Bruck.
Present.
Finally.
Yay!
Desana.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have 11 members in a quorum.
Thank you. And I do want to recognize Representative Bruck. Welcome here. Is it your very first day?
First day of committee, third day.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. All right. Representative Reingans moves to approve the minutes of the June 7 meeting without objection, so ordered. Welcome. And with that, we're going to jump right into things today. I'm very pleased to announce that we have our first bill coming through the Higher Ed Committee this morning. So welcome everyone to this somewhat historic moment. And that bill is HB 4573. It will extend the sunset for the Michigan New Jobs Training Program to 2033, which will allow community colleges to continue entering into new training agreements. So we have a few folks here to testify, and I will begin with a short introduction. And so with that, the committee will go at ease while we get things set up. Representative Reingans, if you want to take over.
All right, higher ed will come to order. You're welcome to start whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I am proud to testify in support of my bill, HB 4573, to provide a sunset extension for the Michigan New Jobs Training Program, to be referred to as MNTJP. Did I get that right? No, MNJTP. And we will extend that out to 2033. The extension will allow community college to continue entering into any new training agreements. So without a sunset extension of the Michigan New Jobs Training Program, a community college may not enter into any new training agreements after December 31 of 2023. The MNJTP is an important economic development incentive that authorizes community colleges to create a training pool in support of employers that are creating new jobs and or expanding operations here in the state of Michigan. The MNJTP was first enacted in 2010. The sunset was most recently extended in 2018. And since then, 305 employers have been served by the program, 34,647 new jobs have been projected, and 22 of 28 community colleges participate. Funds can be used to pay for any direct training expenses, which might include basic adult education, job-related instruction, skills assessment, training equipment, materials and supplies, testing and evaluation of employees, customized or general instruction at a training facility selected by the employer, college tuition, books and fees, and services of a private trainer, and more. So as you can see, all essential in ensuring the continued success of MNJTP and creating new jobs to retain our students here in Michigan. House Bill 4573 also ensures that the jobs meet 175% of the state minimum wage or ALICE wage threshold. For those of you who are not familiar, ALICE is the Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. So these are folks who are earning more than the poverty level, but not quite enough to afford basics where they live. This is a number that is determined county by county. So these jobs will help ensure that employers can afford to live where and work. I'm grateful to all those testifying in support of HB 4573. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and time with the committee today. And I thank my colleagues for your consideration. I urge support of this important and needed sunset extension. And with that, I don't know if there are any questions. We do have a number of others who will provide more detail on the program, on the bill. But any
Do you have any questions?
high-level questions?
Any questions for Rep. Chair Glanville? Vice Chair Vanderwall?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Madam Chair, for bringing this bill forward. Really quick, I guess some clean up some confusion on my part. Why would we use the ALICE data for determining a wage when the bill already specified previously a pretty substantial wage? So.
Yes, thank you for that question. That is something we want to make sure we clarify today, and I believe our friends from the Michigan College Access Network are going to talk about that language.
Okay, very
in more
good.
detail.
Thank you.
No? Yeah? Yeah, Community College Association. Sorry, I'm sorry. From the Community Colleges Association.
Perfect.
Will help us with that. All right. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go at ease at the, oh, just kidding. Rep. Hill.
We're getting it together over here. I am curious, with the sunset, were there programs that might cease before this program with the sunset? Were there things in progress that were going to end around the state?
If we don't extend this, will the program end?
Well, no, if we don't extend it, what programs would end?
Again, I don't have the specifics on that, but I expect we might get some examples from some of our other presenters. So if you want to hold that question.
Yep, thank you.
All right.
Seeing no further questions, we'll go at ease at the call of the chair.
So the Committee on Higher Education will come to order, and we will hear additional testimony coming up. Just so you're aware of who else we're going to be hearing from, we will have Brandy Johnson from the Michigan Community College Association. Dr. Charles Lepper joins us from Grand Rapids Community College, and also Peter Provenzano, the Chancellor of Oakland Community College, will be here to speak to further detail on the bill. So first up is Brandy Johnson, President of the Michigan Community College Association, to speak in support of the bill.
Thank you,
So when
Madam
you're
Chair.
ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Glanville and members of the committee for inviting me to testify before you on House Bill 4573. My name is Brandy Johnson. I'm the president of the Michigan Community College Association, and we are very supportive of this bill and thank Representative Glanville for her sponsorship and leadership on this issue. Public Acts 359 and 360 of 2008 created the Michigan New Jobs Training Program. It's designed as an economic development incentive that results in a net increase in employment in Michigan. The program authorizes community colleges to temporarily capture the state income tax withholding associated with newly hired workers to pay for customized training, essentially providing training that the employer precisely needs at little or no cost to either the employer or the employee. The jobs must be net new, full-time, and permanent positions for a new or expanding business located in Michigan. The new positions cannot be related to recalling laid off or replacement workers and cannot have existed within the previous 12 months. Under the current statute, the new positions must pay at least 175% of the state minimum wage, which works out to be at least $17.68 per hour statewide. To date, 305 employers and 34,647 new jobs have been supported by the Michigan New Jobs Training Program and the agreements that are in place with 22 different community colleges all across the state. Unlike some other economic incentives we often hear about, employers really do have skin in the game, since they must hire the employees first before these contracts can go into effect. So the employer must hire the employees and be paying them this wage before they start this training that is created as part of the program. And this is because of the employer involvement and the customization, it really does eliminate the skills gap. The training that is delivered to these new employees is exactly what the employers require. Most of the training funded by Michigan New Jobs Training Program is company specific. Michigan New Jobs Training Program funds can be used for a broad range of training needs, from short-term training to full certificates and degrees. This is a truly local program. Individual community colleges work directly with their local and regional employers, as well as their local economic development organizations to support job creation. Colleges report on an annual basis to the Michigan Department of Treasury on all existing program agreements. And House Bill 4070, as Representative Glanville mentioned, House Bill 4573 seeks to extend the sunset on new contracts and bonding from December 31st, 2023 to December 31st of 2033. So there's still a sunset in place for the program, and we are incredibly supportive of this extension. If I may answer Representative Hill's question, any agreement that is currently in place that is signed by the end of this calendar year would be able to be continued. But colleges, without this bill being signed into law, we would not be able to sign any new contracts beginning January 1st for new employers that want to take advantage of this opportunity. The bill would also allow wages paid to be either equal to 175% of the state's minimum wage or the Alice Household Survival Budget hourly wage for one adult and one child within the county where the job is created. Alice is asset limited, income constrained, and employed, earning more than the federal poverty level, but working. The household survival budget provided by United for Alice, which is sort of under the umbrella of the Michigan Association of United Ways, reflects the minimum costs to live and work in the modern economy regionally. Those budgets include housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, technology, taxes, and some miscellaneous expenses. So we recognize, I think, a couple of things, and this to answer Representative Vanderwall's question. One, in the legislation, there is one sort of blunt instrument for the wage threshold, 175% of minimum wage. Yet we also recognize there's incredibly different costs of living associated with different parts of the state. At $17 dollars an hour, it would be really hard to live above the federal poverty line if you're living in Ann Arbor or Oakland County. That is more than enough to pay to really support a household in some of our more rural areas. So the concept of giving an alternative to just the minimum wage is really to allow us to look at regional differences in cost of living for employers, because there are indeed such regional differences. And the Alice tool is really the only one that is published regularly that gets into that granularity of county level data and how much it costs to live in that particular county. The other piece that we want to recognize is that the minimum wage is sometimes a politically determined amount that doesn't reflect the actual costs of living. So if minimum wage were to fluctuate greatly, and then the in place that the legislation is still 175% of minimum wage, then that really will result in an inability for many employers, particularly in rural communities, but across the state, to participate in the program. We are supportive of adding the reference to ALICE wages to the statute as an alternative and would ensure the continued creation of good paying, livable wage jobs based on local costs of living. You are also going to hear from Dr. Charles or Chuck Lepper, the president of Grand Rapids Community College, and Chancellor Peter Provenzano from Oakland Community College. And they're here today to provide some really more specific examples of how the program operates in their communities with their regional employers. Thanks for your consideration. I'd be very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Can you, I guess I'll let Minority Vice Chair Vanderwall follow up on his question first.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Brandy, for being here today. And again, first off, I just want to say thank you. Many of your community colleges reached out, and you know what? That's the best advocacy that can be. So job well done there. I appreciate that. Kind of driving back at the ALICE formula that goes in, and I just some clarification. When we look at the ALICE report for different counties, under this ALICE, 20 of the counties will actually have a lower rate than the original bill. And how I read the bill, and this is, I know that the chair and I have had this discussion, I read the bill that it says, or lesser. In my issue is that we're actually driving some of it down through the ALICE report and how we determine that. 1768 is a great wage, and if we actually look at the analysis here, my hometown would actually lose 23 cents an hour. Some of my old districts that I represented, almost $1. Why did we want to put that threshold in there of the ALICE versus just the original language?
Yep, that's a great question, Madam Chair. Representative Vanderwall. So the idea is that even if the minimum wage threshold was 23 cents an hour less in your hometown, there are potentially employers in your hometown that are not participating in the program at all, even if in this case, $17.03 is still a very good living wage for that particular county. And so there are employers that have said explicitly, again, we do not see this in urban and suburban communities that are easily exceeding that minimum wage threshold. I imagine Chancellor Provenzano and President Lepper will give examples of where employers are actually in their communities, because of the higher cost of living and competitive wages, are paying $21, $22, $23, $24 an hour. But there are employers that are interested in participating in the program, but whose starting wages are $16.95 an hour or $17.03 an hour, and can't participate in the program at all because of that lower wage. And so it would be one thing if we were pushing down the wage for everyone, like if we said, okay, it's 125% of minimum wage. That would actually push down the wages for participating in the programs, particularly in communities that need a higher living wage in order for people to survive. And we chose one adult, one child to recognize that, this would not just help a single person survive, but let's say it's a single parent or even, a 2-member household would be able to survive on this budget. It's really about allowing employers in smaller, more rural communities with lower cost of living to be able to gain access to this program.
So just to clarify, what I heard you say is that by including the ALICE threshold, we are opening the program to more employers. Is that correct?
Yes, and it has two functions. We're opening it up to more employers in more rural communities that have lower costs of living, while at the same time creating some sort of built-in insurance in terms of the minimum wage fluctuation. The ALICE rate will change year to year, but it's, some would argue, maybe ultimately more stable than minimum wage jumping up and down. And so it kind of builds in some protection.
And then the other thing I wanted to just clarify, again, these are jobs where there's specific training for them. So I would think that having this type of job might gets you on that path to a better job, like where now folks might be just going into maybe a retail job or something that doesn't provide any training.
Yeah, that's right. And I would say a major, related to that, a major priority of the Michigan Community College Association, and there's been some good press about this week, is to award credit for prior learning, meaning that because this is designed to be, exact customized training for employer, but provided by the community college. A community college can then evaluate that training that happened. It's in most cases not for college credit on the front end. So, but the community college can look at the training that was provided through NJTP, which is a horrible acronym, and then if that individual comes back and says, I do want to pursue an associate degree in advanced manufacturing, the community college will reflect that learning and translate it into college credit so that they're not starting with 0 credits, but maybe they're starting with 10 or 12 credits because of this training. And our colleges have gotten much more sophisticated in how they really honor the learning that happens in other settings beyond the only 4 credit learning.
Okay. We got a couple more questions, and I want to make sure we get to our other presenters as well. So Representative Ryan, our Minority Vice.
Mine was similar to Rep. Vanderwall, so I'll just pass.
And Representative Bruck.
Thank you, Chair. It's good to see you again, Brandy.
Nice to see you.
And I just wanted to ask the question with the ALICE. I do appreciate that being added in. I think it will help. Obviously, in Monroe County, we're above that threshold. But in communities, it's all about getting employers to work together with the colleges to get employees and the training that they need. So I appreciate this being brought to the committee. How many more companies / individuals do you think would be added because of abiding by the ALICE limitation, or I should say the deduction, because ALICE is a little lower and that does help companies?
Yeah, it's a little lower in, I think Representative Vanderwall said, in about 20 counties, and the rest of the counties, the ALICE rate's actually higher than the 175% of minimum wage. So, I mean, I don't think it would be a lot, but I do think we would see more participation from employers in the UP and in northern Michigan in particular than that are currently participating. One of the things I should also mention is that in the bill there is a cap of how many contracts can be active at any one time, and we're not asking for an increase of the cap. So there's no increased cost to this program above and beyond what it's currently costing, which is an income tax withholding that is captured to pay off the training for these net new jobs. And so it would just, as there's room for more contracts, which usually every 3 to 4 months, we approach colleges and say there's room for a new contract who has something with an employer that is ripe for this kind of collaboration. We'll have more opportunities for those colleges to participate with that wage. But like I said, if minimum wage were to increase significantly, and then 175% of minimum wage is our only option, that will make the wage jump up to $25, $26 an hour, and would just really make it so that more rural employers couldn't participate at all.
I really appreciate that being added. And I know Barry Kinsey will be very happy to have the program continuing, because it has done great things down in Monroe County. I know that, the community college here.
And
So.
thank you for your continued leadership and advocacy for Monroe County Community College.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, if there are no more questions for Ms. Johnson, we will move on to our community college guests.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have Dr. Charles Lepper, president of the Grand Rapids Community College, and I believe Lisa Freiberger will be joining him.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. As I mentioned, my name is Chuck Lepper. I have the privilege of serving as Grand Rapids Community College's newest president, or new president, starting in January of this year, and I'm happy to say returning back to the state of Michigan. But I've asked my colleague Lisa Freiberger, who serves as our Vice President for Business and Finance, to be with me today to help answer any questions that you may have as a result of my newness in the position. And so Lisa and I are going to split our comments, and so Lisa's going to provide you with some data about our participation in the Michigan New Jobs Training Program, and then I'll share a couple stories with you and wrap up our comments and answer any questions that you may have of us.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you this morning. Grand Rapids Community College is one of the largest community college participants in the Michigan New Jobs Training Program. As has been mentioned already, it is a great economic driver within our region, and we are pleased to be able to participate. We currently have 17 outstanding agreements with employers in Kent and Ottawa counties, with a total contract value of in excess of $24 million, with covered employees of approximately 4,500 new jobs. And again, as has been previously mentioned, they are net new jobs in every case, paying at least 175% of minimum wage. Since inception of the program in Michigan, we have participated in the training with our employers of over 22,000 new employees. So again, this program has had a significant impact in West Michigan through Grand Rapids Community College, specifically in Kent and Ottawa counties. Contracts with our new employers, as we are continuing to add new agreements, are typically in the range of $250,000 to $500,000 and are scheduled to be fully funded within a period of 5 years. After that, once fully funded, tax diversion stops, and taxes are sent into the Treasury as normal. With that, I'll turn it back to Dr. Lepper to share some stories.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. As mentioned, GRCC has 17 different agreements currently outstanding, and I would like to share a few examples of those agreements. One of our agreements is with Hudsonville Ice Cream. Hudsonville Ice Cream and GRCC entered into an MNJTP agreement last year, and they plan to hire 123 new employees and have already brought on 25 new employees that have been trained, and that has allowed them to add new food manufacturing lines and develop new products in West Michigan. And there are 25 new employees that have received training in different technologies and automation processes, allowing them to advance their careers and earn higher wages. We also have contracts in place with both LG Energy Solutions and Clarios to support their work in battery industry. This past year, we worked with them to provide training to 684 and 55 employees respectively, helping both manufacturers to continue to grow and their employees to gain new skills. Our collective work has also allowed our applied technology faculty to learn their automation systems and align the company's needs to National Certification Industry 4.0. An example of that is the Smart Automation Certificate Alliance. And GRCC has been able to use this learning to create new battery boot camps for individuals interested in or working in the industry. That has allowed people to get earn living wage jobs in our community, and based upon our data, the average pay for those positions are $21.14 per hour. So in closing, and our ask is that we know that the MNJTP allows us to encourage economic development by providing training that is customized to the individual, local employers in an efficient manner. The flexibility built into this program allows us to work collaboratively with each individual employer to offer many types of training options, including customized equipment and safety training, certification for their employees, associate degree programs. And without this program, these employers might not be able to grow their business here in Michigan. The original language is scheduled to sunset in 2015, has been extended to 2023. We feel strongly that this program allows community colleges like ours to support economic growth in our region, and would respectfully request that the current proposed legislation be supported, extending the sunset dates and our ability to continue to offer this program. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting to hear that we have this kind of ground level training program in place, helping folks stay in the state, stay in Michigan, and for our companies to grow. It sounds like a great opportunity all across the board. Representative Pius?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at the fiscal impact, and I'm wondering if I understand correctly that the program costs have a cap currently of $50 million. And it appears that there may be some left over, but that it would continue at the same funding amount. So we're not increasing the funding.
That
We're
is
just asking that it be extended. So it won't adjust for the next 10 years, and it would just stay what it has been for the past 8 years or so.
Correct. There is a cumulative cap of $50 million, so at no point in time can contracts be outstanding that would exceed that. There is a system that MCCA runs, manages. There is a queue, so to speak, so community colleges wait till there is new available funding, so a contract has closed, so there's something new that keeps us underneath that cap. In GRCC, for example, we have employers that have filed what we call letters of intent. So they would like to enter into a Michigan New Jobs Training Agreement with us, and we hold them until we have available allocation working closely with MCCA. So this does not increase that cap at all, just holds it steady.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Brooke.
Thank you, Chair. Quick question. With the changes, like Oakland County Community College is very large, and some of the community colleges have much more robust programs. Is there in the system, and maybe this should have been a Brandy question, that will allow, maybe with the expansion, in the UP with the Alice wages, et cetera, that would allow the I would say the smaller community colleges, because I know back when I was as a trustee at Monroe County Community College, when Barry would come with a new agreement, I mean, it was an exciting time during our trustee meetings, because that interaction was happening with the community, and that means jobs as well. Is there anything in the system that would assure that smaller colleges would get into that queue? To get a piece of that, I don't want to say a piece of that pie, mean the wrong thing, but you know what I'm asking, though.
Yes, I believe so. I think theoretically, part of that is the questions regarding to the ALICE requirements that lowers that wage to allow more employers to ask to participate. So theoretically, I would assume that smaller communities and smaller community colleges would be able to more readily participate in the program based upon that change. I can't speak to the process of MCCA in determining how those funds are allocated or designated, and I do think that's probably a more of a question for Brandy. But
They have a very equitable process, and they rotate through all colleges that are participating or should choose to participate because of that change. So they have a very systematic and equitable process to rotate through each of us to ask in turn if we have any contracts waiting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Representative Hill. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate you making the trip. And with that, let's move on to our final presentation here. We'll be hearing from Peter Provenzano, Chancellor of Oakland Community College, for testimony, and I believe he has some team members here as well this morning. Welcome.
Good morning. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to testify in front of you about this amazing program, the Michigan New Jobs Training Program. And I have with me Kristen Charlton, who is on our Economic Workforce Development team, and she's here to answer, together we're here to answer any questions you may have. And I will keep my statements brief, because quite simply, this is a program that just works. It's an amazing partnership between the state, community colleges, local jurisdictions, as well as our companies. And obviously, OCC strongly believes that it's an important economic development tool that creates jobs. We have been an administrator for this program since its inception in 2011. Since then, OCC has received nearly $13 million in awarded contracts, training contracts, which really makes us, with Grand Rapids Community College, one of the top colleges using this program. And to give you an idea of the size and magnitude of what this means to Oakland County, we currently have 25 contracts out there in place, as well as a queue of multiple companies waiting in line to be able to take advantage of this program. And so when I say 25 contracts, what does that really mean? I mean, because this is really about jobs. We're talking about the potential of 8,000 new jobs in Oakland County. So this is Oakland County. You can imagine when you extrapolate this over the entire state, how important this tool is for us to use with the state, MEDC, as well as the county or local economic development partners to attract businesses. And I can speak for Oakland County. We're attracting businesses from around the world. And this is one of those tools that they ask us about, and they're really impressed with. And we also use it to keep companies. That's equally important, to maintain the companies that we have, to keep thriving communities, not just in Oakland County, but is in Michigan. And so it's really a self-sustaining program, as we've talked about in the past, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have about the importance of this to the state.
Well, thank you so much. I know we have a lot of great programs here in the state, but I don't know how often we hear from somebody that it just works. So thank you for that. Do we have any questions for Oakland? All right. Well, seeing none, thank you so much for being here today, again, and for your resounding support of the program. So yeah, I think that concludes our testimony this morning, and I don't think I have any cards to read in at the moment. So thank you so much. We will return to, just wanted to mention that you should have a letter from, from Northwestern Michigan College and Traverse Connect, also in support of the legislation that should be in your packet here this morning. So, and with that, I believe that brings us to a close this morning. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to our the folks who came to testify with us today. And there are no absent members. Okay. So there being no further business before the committee will stand adjourned.